Welcome to Microsoft Excel session. Today, we will be learning about three things: Sheet View, Zoom, and inputting data. Now that we have already learned what is Microsoft Excel, why do we need to learn Microsoft Excel? We have also learned about the different views that are there. We have learned about how to use those views, the different ribbon menus that are there in Microsoft Excel. We are going to learn a very specific view, zoom in views, and also how to input data in Microsoft Excel. So let's begin our session today. So we will start with sheet view, followed by zoom, and then followed by input data. Sheet views are an innovative way of letting you create customized view in an Excel worksheet without being disrupted by others. You can set up a filter to display only the records that are important to you, and also can set up multiple sheet views on the same worksheet. Now, let's put an example. Let's say you're working on a large set of data with your team, but suddenly the table shrinks and you are unable to finish your work. You're unable to see your data and your data has got lost. So what you do is you create customized views for yourself. Whatever cell edits are going on will still go on. However, the cells are viewed and whatever the formulas have been used will still be there. But you have a separate view for yourself, which you have customized for your needs. So you can sort, filter the data, and work on it. So how do you add a sheet view? Sheet view can only be found in the view ribbon menu, right? So this is something that is there in the view ribbon menu. Once you apply the sort and the filter, then you can automatically save it as a temporary view, right? So once you have sorted and filtered your data, you save it as a temporary view. And that temporary view, then you can use it as a sheet view, right? So let's see how do we work with sheet view and where can we locate sheet view. So we'll go back to Microsoft Excel, the file that we were working on. And as you see, there is, this is the all the ribbon menus, right? We'll go to view, and this is the sheet view. For example, I'll put some numbers here. So I'm inserting numbers here. Insert all the numbers first. So let me insert the numbers first. So now that I have inserted all the numbers, what I can do is I can, let's say, create a sort or a filter here. So you go back to home and you add sort small to largest, and same here as well. So this is done, and go to view, and you have to save this as a temporary view. Once you save this as a temporary view, then you can use the sheet view. Now use sheet view when you have larger sets of data. This is a much more smaller sample in terms of the data. Use sheet view when there is larger sample of data. And what you can do is you can either save it or you can save it as a new view. or you can apply options also there. So sheet view option sort of helps you in creating and customizing your own views. And it is very important because let's say if you have about 10 parameters or 20 parameters here, and you have about 100 to 200 sets of data, you and then there are other people are also working on the same data. It will be really difficult for you to, you know, keep a track of your work and the analysis that you are doing. So if you are doing really in-depth analysis, it is always better to use sheet view for that. You can also switch between the sheet views. So let's say, once you create a sheet view and you have other multiple sheet views that are applied in that data, you can also switch back. That does not mean your work will get hampered or your work won't get saved. It will get saved, and also you will be able to work on multiple sheet views at the same time. So that is something that you can do with the help of sheet view. The next is the zoom menu, right? Now, when we hear the word zoom, we already know that it means zooming into a certain part of the text or increasing to see what the text is written. See, you can zoom with the help of the magnifying glass, right? So you can use that magnifying glass option that you would find and you will be able to zoom. But you can also get a close-up view of data of a certain selected part. So what is the zoom menu? The zoom command in view ribbon menu is used to get a close-up view in the document. Yeah. So when you're seeing the document, because you're inserting large sets of data, you might minimize the screen or the screen size of Excel. But what you can do with zoom is you can magnify to a certain part and look into it. You can zoom in or zoom out depending on your preference, and also can save a particular zoom setting. Yeah. So let's see what is zoom all about. So we will go back and we will go to Microsoft Excel. Now we are already in view. So in view ribbon menu, you will be able to locate zoom. Here, as you see, is there's 100%. So you can zoom in from here, let's say. So I have zoom into here and you can zoom into this and you can decrease it also as per here. So you see this small task bar which is there just below in the document. Here you will see the magnifying glass. What you can do is you can use this bar to increase the size of this page as well, right? So this is zoom. Now then there is the zoom menu here. So let's say you want to use this. You can do fit to selection, custom, magnification. So let's say you want to do 200 magnification. You do OK. And this is how you can look for it. Yeah. You can again go back. Let's say I want to go back. And then there is zoom 100%. Again, you can zoom into 100% view itself. And then you have zoom to selection. So let's say I'll select this. And I use zoom to selection. And only this range can be seen. And what has happened is this part is zoomed for me, right? But let's say I want to again decrease the screen size. I just want to see this too, this cell range. So select your cell range first. Select it. So let's say these are the ones I want to see. And I go to zoom to selection. I can only see this highlighted part, right? So you have to zoom through, select those part first, select the cell range. Let's say you want to select about this much of cell range, right? And you might have inserted some data here. You can zoom to selection and you can only see this part. So make sure you are using the cell range to magnify into that part. For example, if there is larger sets of data from, let's say, your column number 7 to column number 15, you can select the column, this many columns, the cell ranges that you want to focus on, and then click on zoom to selection. Now, always remember when you're using zoom to selection that your cell range should be shorter so that you can look into all the selected part of the data instead of scrolling. It should fit in that screen because anyway, you're going to be magnifying the whole part, right? So the whole part has to be magnified. So please make sure that you're selecting a certain part and you're magnifying it, right? So this is how you use zoom to selection. Now that we have learned about zoom menu and view menu, we will get into data. And let's understand about inputting data in Microsoft Excel. Now, there are three methods by which you can input data. The first is the direct input, where you type the data in the cell. The second is the formula bar. So in case you're entering a long equation, sentence, formulas, you can just use the formula bar. And then there is autofill. It helps the user in inserting data, both text and number, in the cells automatically. So let's say how to do this three. So we will go back to Microsoft Excel. And once we are here, the first thing we will do is input data. So let's say you select a cell and write A, another B, C, D. So you can just keep on writing the cell directly itself. You can even write numbers. You can write anything in the cells, right? So this is direct input. The next is, let's say I want to select this row and column and I want to write here Excel session. You will find this formula bar, right? And we will anyway be going to the formulas for the next session. But you see this formula bar. And in the formula bar, what you have to do is you just have to write. So you select the cell first. So let's say I'm selecting this cell. Then I will click into the formula bar and say today's session is on input, right? So you see this whole thing has been covered. So this whole sentence has been written and the data has been inputted directly with the help of formula bar. You can also put in numbers. For example, equals to 2 plus 2. Right, you enter and your sum has happened. Or let's say you put numbers here. So numbers also can be added, formulas can be added. You can do so many things with the help of formula bar. The next thing is autofill. So let's learn what autofill is about. Now let's say I want to do 4, 5, 6, 7. Click on to 7. Then there's this a plus sign will come. And you see you can autofill a number. Right? And you can keep on dragging it. And you can drag the numbers. You can also do, let's say, A, B, C, D, E, and you can drag the same in the sideways as well. So it's just not row wise, it can be, it's just not column wise, it can be row wise as well. So you can create and write text and then do autofilling. So this is automatically that is going to be filled. You can also do down, right, up or left also, depending on what text you are inserting and how you are inserting the text. So this is how we are working on the autofill part. So there are three ways. Now that you know how to fill data in Microsoft Excel, how to input data, there are three ways. One, you directly add in the cell. Second, you add in the formula bar and write. And third, you can do autofilling as well, depending on what text or what data you need to be autofilled, right? So this is how you can use inputting data. So today, what we learned was sheet view, Zoom, how to use Zoom in Microsoft Excel, and how to input data in your worksheet.